When fans think of Fiveman, most will tend to think of failure, amongst other things. Fiveman has the reputation of being the show that almost killed the Super Sentai series back in the early 90s, before Jetman and G-Ranger helped to get it back on its feet. But what exactly did Fiveman do to get Sentai to the spot it was in? Well, other than having one of, if not the most basic name for a Sentai team ever. At the time, the Super Sentai series had a similar feel each year, and was on the verge of being cancelled anyway due to boredom amongst children. It would be cruel to place the blame solely on Fiveman. The previous show Turbo Ranger had the lowest ratings in Sentai at the time, which was not helped by the time slot change between episodes 31 and 32, from 6 PM on a Saturday to 5:30 PM on a Friday. The show also found itself competing with anime such as Ranma Half, which itself was an adaptation of a very popular manga. Fiveman, I guess you could say, was one of the earliest instances of Sentai attempting to innovate, which was much needed to help the show grow. This mainly was done with the idea of sibling teachers, because all 5 members were teachers and they were all siblings. More use of combination techniques were incorporated to sell this idea of an all-sibling team. This may not sound like much, but at the time this was pretty big. However, this did not resonate well with kids. The toys being designed with these themes in mind did not help either. Tsuyoshi Nonaka speculated the reason for Fiveman's poor sales was due to the fact that the designs were made with an older generation in mind. The same older generation that overall were not fans of the violence in shows like Fiveman. The big base robo, Max Magma, was used twice and was destroyed in its second use, essentially making the toys shelf warmers. Although we do not have exact numbers, we know that Fiveman sold very poorly. Nonaka stated that it sold around the same amount as Sentai's sister show at the time, Tokei Wind Spectre. The Metal Heroes series itself was recovering from its own little crisis at the time, so a bad year for Sentai was a decent year for Metal Heroes. Well, toy sales flopped, but the show could still have good ratings thanks to good writing, right? This is Hiroyu Sasoda. He has been the head writer for Sentai since 1982's Golgo 5. Writing for a show this long would definitely lead to some form of burnout, as was evident in Turbo Ranger. The idea of Fiveman having a mix of the best of Hiroyu Sasoda did not fare well with the audience. Sasoda himself has apparently stated that he wrote Fiveman whilst injured with wounds, but I myself have not found the source of this claim. There was also the somewhat out of nowhere introduction of comedic aspects. Not to say that Fiveman didn't have its comedic moments, more so harming one's character to introduce these elements. And the character who suffered this blow the most was the antagonist Garoa. Garoa went from a menacing villain to a laughingstock almost instantly. The 5 Kudos were also introduced in episode 23, seemingly to add on to the idea of making the show a bit more comedic. But then, they were never seen again past episode 35. Why exactly was this done though? Well, in the very early 90s, Japan saw a comedy boom within the entertainment industry, and I guess Sentai wanted to take advantage of that. Fiveman had an average rating of 6.5%, and episode 26 held the lowest ratings for Sentai at the time at 1.8%. And this was back when TV ratings actually mattered. The Sentai series itself was seen as just a matter of course, just like Air, by the Toei staff. Overall, Fiveman failed, and if it wasn't for the next few shows breaking the mold even more, Sentai as we have it today may have not been the same at all. However, I wouldn't say Fiveman itself was the threat to Sentai's cancellation. As mentioned before, Sentai had been seeing a downward trend for some time. Fiveman just happened to be where it all fell into place. Fiveman's ratings, although still not the best, did bounce back in its second half. Fun fact, no episode of Sentai has overtaken the ratings of Fiveman's 31st episode since. After watching the show myself, I failed to see how this show was seen as unpopular, and a lot of Japanese fans shared the same opinions when the series was being uploaded to YouTube some time ago. Whilst at the time it was a massive dent in Sentai's run, I think it's still a good show to watch and enjoy. I personally enjoy the interactions between the characters, and them all being siblings always added to the emotional stakes. Sentai has been in tough situations before and after Fiveman. It's just the one that's recognised most prominently, likely because of Jetman. So I hope I've shined a bit of light on what is sometimes seen as a dark spot in Sentai's long-running history.